I'm Marcus Thompson, and in 15 years leading rescue operations across East Africa, I've learned to maintain a professional distance from the animals we save. It's essential for making clear decisions and ensuring everyone's safety. But there was one moment, one gesture from a lioness, that shattered every boundary I'd built and changed how I understand the connection between humans and wildlife. If you've ever felt that inexplicable bond with a wild animal, you'll understand this story. Share in the comments if you've experienced that moment when an animal seemed to truly see you. These connections remind us why conservation work matters so deeply. This happened 18 months ago during a complex rescue operation in the Maasai Mara. What started as a routine medical intervention became the most emotionally powerful encounter of my career, and the moment that redefined everything I thought I knew about the relationship between rescuer and rescued. This is case file number 158, and I'm sharing this story because sometimes the animals we're trying to save end up saving something in us that we didn't even know was broken. Subscribe if you want more stories about the profound connections that can develop between humans and wildlife, the moments that remind us we're all part of the same natural world. The call came from Dr. Samuel Kassane, a Maasai veterinarian whose deep understanding of both traditional knowledge and modern conservation made him one of our most trusted partners in the region. Marcus, we have a situation requiring immediate intervention. A lioness from the River Pride has a severe injury to her front paw, likely from a snare trap. She's been limping for 3 days, and without treatment, infection could threaten her life. He continued. The complexity is that she has 2 young cubs, maybe 4 months old. Any intervention needs to account for maintaining the family unit while providing medical care that could save her life. Lion medical interventions are among our most challenging operations. Adult lionesses are incredibly protective of their cubs, and any procedure that separates them, even temporarily, can disrupt family bonds that are crucial for cub survival. Dr. Kassane, what's her current mobility level? I asked. She's still hunting and caring for her cubs, but the limp is worsening daily. Her pride sisters are compensating by sharing kills, but this level of support won't be sustainable long-term. I assembled our most experienced team for large predator medical work. Sarah, our veterinarian, had performed successful procedures on lions before, and Mike's equipment would be essential for safe sedation and treatment of a protective mother. This case requires a perfect balance between medical necessity and family preservation, I explained during our flight. We need to treat her injury while ensuring the cubs remain safe and the family bond stays intact. Sarah was reviewing lioness physiology and maternal behavior patterns. Marcus, mother lions with cubs are incredibly protective, but also remarkably intelligent about accepting help when they understand it benefits their family. Mike was preparing specialized equipment for treating large predators with dependent offspring. Boss, I've got our gentlest sedation systems and a mobile treatment setup that allows us to work near the cubs without separating the family. When we located the River Pride, the situation was immediately clear. A magnificent lioness, obviously the mother of 2 playful cubs, was favoring her right front paw significantly. Even from a distance, we could see swelling and signs of infection. The lioness's behavior showed both pain and determination. Despite her obvious discomfort, she was actively caring for her cubs, grooming them, and maintaining the alert posture of a protective mother. Look at her positioning, Sarah observed. She's keeping the cubs between herself and the pride's core territory, using her body as a shield, despite her injury. This level of maternal dedication is remarkable. Dr. Kassane provided crucial context through radio communication. This lioness, Nuru, is one of the pride's most experienced mothers. She's successfully raised 7 cubs over the years and is known for her intelligence and calm temperament. Our approach required extraordinary patience and respect for the family dynamic. Lions have complex social intelligence, and any intervention that disrupted their natural behavior could have lasting negative effects. The key, I explained to the team, is approaching this as a cooperative medical procedure rather than a capture operation. Nuru needs to understand that we're here to help, not threaten her family. The initial approach took over an hour. We positioned ourselves at distances that allowed Nuru to observe our equipment and intentions without triggering protective responses that might stress her cubs. Sarah's expertise in lion psychology proved invaluable. "Marcus, watch her body language. She's curious about our presence rather than defensive. Her ears are forward, and she's making soft contact calls to her cubs rather than warning growls." As we gradually moved closer, something remarkable happened. Nuru began positioning herself and her cubs in ways that gave us better access to her injured paw, almost like she understood our medical intentions. "Incredible behavior," Dr. Kassane observed. "She's actively facilitating our approach while keeping her cubs calm and secure. This level of cooperation suggests remarkable intelligence and trust." The sedation process required perfect timing and dosage calculation. Sarah needed to provide enough medication to allow treatment while ensuring Nuru remained conscious enough to reassure her cubs throughout the procedure. "Perfect placement," Sarah reported as the sedation dart found its mark. "She's responding exactly as predicted. Consciousness is maintained, but pain and mobility are controlled for safe treatment." What happened next was the moment that changed everything for me. As Sarah began examining the injured paw, Nuru turned her head toward me, made direct eye contact, and slowly, deliberately, extended her uninjured front paw in my direction. Not aggressively, not defensively, but in what could only be described as a gesture of trust and connection. Her eyes held mine with an intelligence and awareness that transcended every boundary between human and wild animal. If you've ever experienced that moment, when a wild animal seems to truly see and acknowledge you as an individual, you know how profound that connection can feel. Let me know in the comments about your own experiences with animal recognition. I found myself moving closer, drawn by something I couldn't explain or resist. Against every protocol I'd established in 15 years of wildlife work, I slowly extended my hand toward her outstretched paw. The moment our hands touched, my palm against the rough pads of her paw, was electric. Nuru's eyes never left mine, and I felt a connection that went beyond species, beyond the roles of rescuer and rescued, into something purely emotional and spiritual. "Marcus," Sarah whispered, not wanting to break the moment. "Her heart rate is actually decreasing. Your contact is calming her during the medical procedure. This is unprecedented cooperative behavior." For 30 seconds that felt like a lifetime. Nuru and I maintained that contact while Sarah worked on her injured paw. The lioness's cubs, rather than being distressed by their mother's condition, seemed to understand that something healing was happening. The medical treatment revealed a deep puncture wound from a wire snare, infected but treatable with proper care. Sarah's expertise ensured thorough cleaning, antibiotic treatment, and wound care that would promote complete healing. "Excellent prognosis," Sarah reported as she completed the procedure. "With proper follow-up care, this injury will heal completely without affecting her hunting ability or mobility." Throughout the entire medical procedure, Nuru maintained intermittent contact with my hand, almost like she was using our connection to stay calm and cooperative during treatment that was clearly uncomfortable. When the procedure was complete, and the sedation began wearing off, Nuru's first action wasn't to check her treated paw or move away from us. It was to look directly at me again and make a soft rumbling sound that Dr. Kassane identified as a gratitude call. That vocalization is typically reserved for Pride members who've provided help or protection, Dr. Kassane explained with obvious amazement. "She's acknowledging you as someone who helped her family." As we prepared to leave, Nuru stood carefully, tested her treated paw, and then did something that still gives me chills. She approached to within 3 meters of our position, sat down, and maintained eye contact with each team member individually. "She's memorizing us," Sarah observed. "This lioness is ensuring she'll recognize the humans who helped her if she ever encounters us again." The follow-up monitoring over the following weeks showed perfect healing and complete recovery. Nuru returned to full hunting capability, and her cubs continued developing normally under her expert care. But the most remarkable part was her ongoing behavior toward humans. Rangers reported that Nuru showed unusual tolerance and curiosity toward conservation vehicles, almost like she was looking for familiar faces. 3 months later, during a routine pride monitoring visit, Nuru approached our vehicle and repeated the same gesture, extending her paw toward the window where I was sitting, making that same direct eye contact that had connected us during her treatment. Case file 158 completely transformed how I understand the emotional intelligence of the animals we work to protect. That moment of connection with Nuru proved that wildlife conservation is not just about preserving species. It's about honoring the individual consciousness and emotional capacity of every animal. I now approach every rescue with a deeper appreciation for the emotional experience of the animals we're helping. Sarah has incorporated stress reduction techniques that acknowledge animal emotional needs. Mike designs equipment that facilitates, rather than prevents, natural animal communication. This case taught me that maintaining professional distance does not mean avoiding emotional connection. It means channeling that connection into more effective, compassionate conservation work. But here's what really changed my perspective. Realizing that Nuru's gesture of trust was also a gift. She was offering me the privilege of connection with one of nature's most magnificent predators, and that gift carries the responsibility to be worthy of such trust. 6 months later, Nuru successfully raised her cubs to independence, and both young lions are now thriving members of the River Pride. Her recovery and continued success validate every moment of that profound connection. Case file number 158 influenced every subsequent rescue we've conducted, including the trust-building techniques that proved crucial in our elephant rescue and the patient approaches that made our more recent operations successful. This case also taught me that the animals we save often give us far more than we give them: perspective, purpose, and reminders of why conservation work is the most meaningful career imaginable. Subscribe if you want more stories about the profound connections that develop between conservationists and the wildlife we protect. These relationships remind us that we're all part of the same natural world. If you want me to share more stories about animal intelligence and emotional connection, especially cases where wildlife demonstrated recognition and gratitude, or the amazing bonds that develop between specific animals and conservation teams, let me know which connection story you'd like to explore next. These stories prove that wildlife conservation is about far more than preserving species. It's about honoring the individual consciousness, intelligence, and emotional capacity of every animal we're privileged to help. Which animal connection story should I share next? Your comments help me choose which cases will be most meaningful for understanding the profound relationships that can develop between humans and the wildlife we're working to protect.